of Representatives moves to make voting compulsory in Nigeria. Reps to investigate JAM's 2025 UTME's technical error. Plus, NEMA deploys team of states, urges state-level readiness to forestall flooding. Everyone, and thank you for joining us on Rstv World News. I am Solomon Nelson Gray. Do you love and care about River State and our peace? Let's build and take her to greater heights. This is a task we must accomplish. You can click on the notification bell for update on our live feeds. As part of efforts to ameliorate the teaching and learning challenges in public schools in Eleme local government area, the sole administrator of the council, Dr. Gloria Obo-Dibia, has visited lots of schools for urgent attention. Godfather reports that the sole administrator was accompanied by principal officers of the council and the academia.
The schools visited include community secondary schools in Ebubu, Alesa, Eleto, Aboncha, Government Girls Secondary School Alode, Community Primary School 1 and 2 Ogale, State Primary School Apajo, and State School 1 and 2 Ogale, as well as Community Junior Secondary School Abeta and the Comprehensive High School Alesa, among others. Dr. Obo-Dibia, who was conducted around various facilities of the primary and secondary schools by the head teachers and principals, decried the deplorable condition of the schools caused by vandalism, thereby making the teaching and learning difficult. The Eleme sole administrator said that her visit was part of the 7-point agenda of the state sole administrator, Vice Admiral Ebok Ete Ibas, retired, on the importance of academic excellence and strengthening public schools. Dr. Obo-Dibia assured the people of Eleme to make input in addressing the situation despite her short time in office, and advised the teachers to continue writing to relevant authorities to achieve desired results.
The state of infrastructure is just deplorable, extremely bad. We saw kids sitting on the floor to learn, and I don't know how any child can actually assimilate the way they're supposed to, sitting on the floor in those conditions. The classrooms have very poor ventilation. You know, you could smell the sweat from the kids, even though they were far away. There are no fans, no light, no windows, no protectors in some of them. Grass is overgrown in so many of the schools. And many of the principals we spoke to and the headmasters or headmistresses have told us that they have written letters and they have made requests and complaints to the Board of Education or Educational Management Board, and still haven't heard anything. So we will try to escalate this from everything we have seen and see what comes out of that.
The academia that were on the entourage also frowned at the present situation in public schools in Eleme and wondered how children can understand their teacher in class while sitting on bar floor under leaking roofs in buildings without ventilation.
How can children be sitting on the floor in these times? Can't imagine. So please, both the government and other agencies can come to assist.
It requires drastic attention if we really need to encourage these children to go to school and actually be the leaders of tomorrow.
And I want to say a big thank you to our sole administrator who took the pains by taking us through all the schools within Eleme, and I will say she has tried.
Teachers who spoke to journalists commended Dr. Gloria Obo-Dibia for her laudable initiative to see things for herself and to act urgently in addressing the plight of the public schools, noting that no council chairman had ever expressed such concern in the education sector.
The fence fell. We have leaking roofs, ceilings, some are falling off. In fact, I did apply, I sent a report with the picture, but nothing has been done.
So our building is collapsing. Even the ceiling is falling upon us and our children. I'm very happy to see her because she's coming to see our calamity.
We are lacking buildings, chairs for the children, chairs and table for the staff, and more teaching staff.
Dr. Obo Dibia assembled elementary school heads and principals of public schools at State School 1 and 2 Ogale for briefing and platforms to address their challenges. God's Power Anele, Rstv News.
In line with the directive of the Real Estate Solar Administrator, Vice Admiral Ibokite Ibas retired, service chiefs in their continued efforts to engage stakeholders held a meeting in Bonny local government area to forge a common front in the peace and development of the state. A statement signed by Police Public Relations Officer Grace Iringe Koko said the meeting focused on issues related to security and welfare. She said the Commissioner of Police, River State Command, CP Olubenga Adepoju, who led other heads of security agencies, including the Nigerian Navy Ship Pathfinder, Nigerian Army 6th Division Garrison, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps NCDC, and the Department of the State Services DSS, stated in his remarks that Bonny hosts critical national assets, including oil and gas facilities, which are vital to the economy of the local government, state, and the nation. CP Adekoju further stated that all complaints and recommendations gathered during the meeting would be communicated to the solar administrator for prompt action. In his welcome address, the administrator of Bonny local government area, Kingsley Banico, noted that the stakeholders meeting was aimed at enhancing safety and security in the area. The visit concluded with an inspection of the Bonny General Hospital and the modern primary school. CP Olubenga Adepoju reaffirmed the River State Solar Administrator's unwavering commitment to safety and security of all citizens and the protection of critical national assets, while appealing for continued support and cooperation from the people of Bonny local government area. President Bola Tinubu has approved a comprehensive upward review of the procurement thresholds for federal ministries, departments, and agencies aimed at modernizing Nigeria's public procurement framework and improving budget implementation in the country. President Tinubu's approval includes provisions to promote the Nigeria First local content policy, ensuring that locally manufactured goods and services are prioritized in the federal procurements. A statement issued by the head of public relations at the BP, Zaka Naga, said under the revised structure, only contracts aimed valued at 5 billion naira and above for goods and consultancy services and 10 billion naira and above for works will require FEC approval. Contracts below these thresholds, he said, will now be handled by ministerial and parastatal tenders boards or accounting officers depending on the cost. The newly revised thresholds announced Wednesday by the Public Bureau of Public Procurement reflect prevailing economic realities such as inflation and the shifting market dynamics, and are expected to significantly ease bureaucratic bottlenecks in the public contracting process. Away from that, a bill to amend the Electoral Act 2022 to make voting compulsory for Nigerians of voting age has passed a second reading in the House of Representatives. The proposed legislation was sponsored by the Speaker Tajuddin Abbas and Daniel Agor. Leading the debate during plenary on Thursday, Agor said the bill aimed to encourage citizens' participation in the electoral process, noting that voter apathy during elections will be addressed if the bill scales legislative scrutiny. Moving on, the House of Representatives on Thursday resolved to probe the technical error that led to the mass failure in the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination conducted by the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB. The decision followed the consideration and adoption of a motion of urgent public importance sponsored by Osun lawmaker Adewale Adebayo. Moving the motion, Adebayo said many Nigerians have suffered losses while traveling long distances to their UTME examination centers. In his contribution, the member representing Jibia Keita Federal Constituency, Katsina State, Sada Soli, urged the House to commend the JAMB registrar for admitting the technical error and apologizing to Nigerians. Recall that on Wednesday, JAMB registrar Oloyede accepted responsibility over the alleged technical errors in the JAMB UTME results during a press conference in Abuja, stating that the results of 179,997 candidates were affected. He noted that the board discovered discrepancies linked to faulty server updates in its Lagos and Southeast zones, which led to the failure to uphold candidates' responses during the board discovered discrepancies linked to faulty services updates in its Lagos and Southeast, which led to the failure to upload candidates' responses during the first 3 days of the examination. They show that the affected candidates will now have the opportunity to retake the examination between May 16 and May 19, 2025. Similarly, the National Association of Nigerian Students on Thursday called for the resignation of the Registrar of the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, Ishak Oloyede, following the admittance by the examination body that the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination was barred with errors. According to a report released by the 8th National Public Relations Officer, Samson Adeyemi, Nance described the errors as a damning indictment of the institution's incompetence. Adeyemi said that the negligence of JAMB has caused untold psychological distress to the affected students while referencing a suicide case involving a student in the Ikorodu area of Lagos State over her UTME score. He said the National Association of Nigerian Students is outraged by the unforgivable negligence of the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, which has resulted in widespread despair among Nigerian students and most tragically the loss of a promising young life in Lagos. This catastrophe, he stressed, has shattered the dreams of the countless students, subjected them to untold psychological distress, and in the case, driven a young scholar to her untimely death. According to him, this is not just an administrative lapses, but an institutional disgrace, and demanded that the JAMB boss resign from the position while compensation be paid to the family of the deceased students. He concluded by urging the federal government to ensure that reforms were made to forestall future occurrences of such errors. This is Rstv World News. May you love and care for River State and our peace. Let's build and take her to greater heights. This is a task we must accomplish. You can watch our news live on YouTube and Facebook at Rstv Online. You can also subscribe and click on the notification bell for updates on our live feeds. And in part 2 after the break, Gambia probes sale of ex-leaders' luxury cars, boats, and Trump arrives UAE on last of Middle East tour. Details of these and more when we return from the break. Still with us.
Omega Power Ministries, OPM Worldwide presents 7. Have you gone everywhere seeking for help with no solution? Are you tired of the insults, mockery, and shame of childlessness? Cry no more, for Dr. Jesus has remembered you. In this 7 weeks program titled 7 Saturdays to Get Pregnant, it will be hot, it will be explosive, and it will be powerful. Date Saturday, 10th May 2025. Saturday, 17th May 2025. Saturday, 24th May 2025. And Saturday, 31st May 2025.
Time 8 in the morning.
Venue OPM GRA 2, number 2 Greg Owehi Street, off Casablanca, New GRA, Port Harcourt. Every day holds a special and unique package for someone. Don't miss out.
OPM, Dr. Jesus in action. Dr. Jesus in action. God is here.
Na for tete dem don dey put spices inside food because of the aroma and better wey e dey do for body. But una need plenty space to keep all your spices if you must to enjoy the better inside there. Now, Mr. Chef Mixed Spices Seasoning Cube don land with all your rich spices wey you love inside one cube. Mr. Chef Mixed Spices Seasoning Cube. Spice mix exactly the way you like am. Dey available for seasoning cube. Try am today.
This is Rstv World News. We bring you world-class news, accurate, first-hand, entertaining, balanced analysis. Rstv, Channel 22 Port Harcourt.
Welcome back. The National Bureau of Statistics has said it is committed to strengthening service delivery among ministries, departments, and agencies through effective management of administrative data. The Statistician General of the Federation, Adeyemi Adeniran, stated this during a 2-day in-boarding training of integrated systems of administrative statistics and equipment distribution to MDAs in Abuja on Thursday. Adeniran said the event was a strategic turning point in the nation's journey towards more integrated, efficient, and responsive national statistics system in the country. He noted that the administrative data system had been forgotten in silos, destroyed, incorporated, and underutilized. In a proactive move to mitigate the impact of the anticipated floods during the 2025 rainy season, the National Emergency Management Agency is deploying teams to all the states in the country to engage directly with communities identified as being at risk of flooding and delivering critical early warning messages and disaster preparedness information at the grassroots level. The Director General of NEMA, Mrs. Zubaida Umar, said this on Thursday at a stakeholders engagement on the 2025 National Preparedness and Response Campaign of flood disaster and related hazards in Abuja. Mrs. Umar also urged the state governments to prepare and provide safer grounds to those who may be affected by the predicted flood this year. Meanwhile, 12 states with 43 local government areas have been predicted to be within the high-risk areas, and 12 states, including the Federal Capital Territory, with 27 local government areas, are considered to fall within the moderate flood risk areas. Now, the foreign say the Gambian government has announced an investigation into the sale of assets seized from former President Yahya Jammeh following widespread public concern. Some of the assets, including livestock, luxury vehicles, were sold off, while a panel was still investigating the wealth Jammeh amassed during his 22-year rule. A newspaper investigation exposed alleged irregularities and an apparent lack of transparency and the sale of the assets, sparking protests organized by young people. In a televised address on Wednesday night, President Adama Barrow pledged full transparency in the probe, saying assets recovered belonging to Germany will be utilized. German, who seized power in 1999 coup, is accused of orchestrating the huge theft of government funds as well as extensive human rights abuses, including killing and jailing his critics. The former leader, who in 2017 fled into exile in Equatorial Guinea after losing elections, had previously denied allegations of wrongdoing. U.S. President Donald Trump has arrived in the United Arab Emirates on Thursday after having started his tour of several Gulf states on Tuesday. The American president touched down in Abu Dhabi, where he was greeted by President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. Trump was then given a tour of the Sheikh Zayed Grand Mosque, which he called the Beautiful. The trip is part of a major 4-day visit of Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates, Trump's first major overseas tour for his second term as president. These countries, among the world's wealthiest nations due to their oil-rich territories, have shown keen interest in closer ties with the U.S. since Trump returned into office. A deal emblematic of the new relationship was announced with Saudi Arabia on Tuesday, while the U.S. pledged to sell Saudi Arabia an arms package valued at nearly $142 billion. The Middle Eastern country, in turn, announced $600 billion commitment to invest in the United States. Whether similar significant deals with the United States Emirates are to be announced soon remains to be seen, yet the possibility exists. Meanwhile, Qatar announced that it wanted to gift Trump $400 million luxury plane to replace his Air Force One. Trump said that he was planning on accepting the gift, despite sparking outrage among Democrats and causing concerns for the ethical, security, and legal implications of the move. And on the entertainment scene, veteran Nollywood actress Tina Mba has advised her colleagues who are torn between their careers and marriage to be observant, as there are always signs of potential setbacks from spouses who are not supportive of their career. Sharima Chiolo tells us more.
The mother of two hinted of her personal life as she urged her colleagues to emulate her by not letting marriage hinder their careers. Afrobeat singer David Adeleke, popularly known as Davido, has said he is the most criticized celebrity in Nigeria simply because of his wealthy background. Davido claimed that the rich kid stigma could have affected his career if he hadn't hidden his background in the beginning. He explained that he already scored a couple of hit songs when his background became public. Nollywood actress and popular body positivity advocate Mona Lisa Stephen has passed away. She died in Lagos following complications from low body sugar and internal bleeding. Her death was confirmed by her immediate younger sister and made public by the Chief Executive Officer of Best of Nollywood (BON), Seun Oloketuyi. Her candid opinions on societal beauty standards, weight stigma, and online bullying often stirred conversations on social media. American singer and actress Halle Bailey has been granted a domestic violence restraining order against her ex-boyfriend, rapper Daryl Dwayne Granberry Jr., professionally known as DDG. The judge restrained DDG to remain 100 yards away from Bailey and prohibited him from discussing her or their child publicly. The court also granted the actress the permission to travel with their son to Italy, where she'll be filming for 2 months. The Little Mermaid actress, in a court document filed in Los Angeles, alleged that a confrontation with DDG turned violent when he came to pick up their 18-month child, Harlow, in January. Bailey claimed that the incident escalated to violence when she tried to discuss a visitation schedule with him. The two lovers broke up in October 2024. Sari Macholu, Rstv Entertainment News.
Now to the news. Let's go back to our slogan. Do you love and care about River State and at peace? Let's build and take up to greater heights. This is a task we must accomplish. You can watch our news live on YouTube and Facebook at Rstv Online. You can subscribe and click on the notification bell for update on our live feeds. And now to the news, a recap of some of the major stories. A bill to amend the Electoral Act 2022 to make voting compulsory for Nigerians of voting age has passed the second reading in the House of Representatives, noting that voter apathy during elections will be addressed if the bill scales legislative scrutiny. The House of Representatives has resolved to probe the technical error that led to the mass failure in the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination conducted in the joint admission by the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board JAMB. We have informed you that the National Emergency Management Agency is deploying teams to all the states in the country to engage directly with communities identified as being at risk of flooding and delivering critical early warning messages and this disaster preparedness information at a grassroots level. Urge state governments to prepare and provide safer grounds to those who may be affected by the predicted flood this year. And that's it on the news. Thank you so much for being a part of it. I am Solomon Lessenbread. Good night.